your performance, so and so on. But more towards when every time I meet up with agency leaders and our customers, and sometimes even if I give a talk to my client, and we are actually understand they would like to know how to use trust. And basically for Malaysian, most of us we do not aware of this what we call the trust. It's a tools for asset planning, and it can become the tools for our living planning as well. When we're still alive, can be planned for our financial needs. And for example, if our customers they have a special needs child, or some customer to set up the fund just to cater for a specific purpose, the living private purpose trust can cater for such uh, needs as well, right? So uh, just want to do this disclaimer to all of us, right? We are happy to provide you this training, right? So just that we do understand some of you have some case that you require a specific legal advice. Please look out for your legal practitioners or solicitors. They can always give you a better advice and interpretation of legals, and in terms of the subject matters, we believe that it's always better you look for your legal advisor. All right. So as well as all the content today, we are sharing just for our asset planners knowledge. All right. So first, the learning objective. So to be honest, most of the asset planners will told me, Jeffrey, I am kind of afraid to touch about this subject matter, asset planning subject matter, because to me, the will and the trust uh, just too heavy for me. Many, many things I need to remember. So I told them, okay, first of all, relax, stay relaxed, and before you download all the concept of how are we going to use these tools to our customers, we must actually make sure that we are in the situation that we are relaxed, and then we have you have to empty your cup. You have to make sure that right now you have a space for you to download some of the important knowledge. So more towards how to use it. So the practicality of the asset planning subject matter is when you use it, when you talk to customer with your will, when you talk to customers with the subject matter of trust. Hey, Mr. Customer, today I learned about trust something. Maybe you just talk about trust, know what is trust, and some case study we'll share later on. I think it can be one way for you to pitch your customer to that topic, right? So the fundamentally, I still need to go through with you what is trust, the foundation of setting up trust. There are three important principles to set up a trust. The differences between will and trust, why I will go through go through the differences between will and trust. Many of my high level customers, we actually talk to them before that. When we talk about trust, right, we actually talk to them when we're using will writing services. And basically this is more acceptable for them, because if your 100 customers are willing to spend an hour or more than an hour with you just to sit down and talk to you how to do a will, and you are about to success the day, and you are okay to go moving forward to talk about trust subject matters. So many reasons that most of the asset learners they have some difficulties and struggle how to upsell will and trust is because sometimes customers just don't want to share too much of their information, right? So will so just to share some secret tips for you, will writing services is one of the tool that I will basically I firstly use will writing services to know my customers' current situation, to understand his or her goal and needs. Then only I propose to trust. So before I propose anything, I will need to sit down to customers. At least I spend half an hour to understand my customers, chit chat with customers, understand his goal. From there, we will start to talk about will, then on trust. So we highlight the differences between will and trust, and also what kind of private trust services. In Malaysia, we have many different trust variety in the market itself. However, for RC Trustee perspective, we are currently we have the most powerful trust, which is called private purpose trust. private purpose living trust. It's not only the cash trust mode, but it's actually private purpose trust. Means that what kind of asset they are able to inject into the asset, it can become the trust asset, right? So we are not limited to only cash. But to start a private living purpose trust, you definitely need to inject cash, right? As an asset, the fundamental asset is the cash. So I will actually give you also an overview and understanding of the private trust services, right? For practicability, we also go through review of the letter wishes part and the trust planning, how to use trust to help our customer if the customer belongs to this group of this group of customers that would like to use trust to reach out their goal. All right, and some case study. And of course, if you go through, some of you just joined us couple of months ago or last month, right? So this is just to let you know our services. So this is when we talk to customers, we have a view and WhatsApp writing services. And today we are talking about private trustee services, right? Some of our customers, we will make some customers ask us, no, Jeffrey, I do understand RSP Trustee is the trustee for REITs. What's REITs? Real Estate Investment Trust, right? And some of the unit trust fund, you will begin to see the prospectus say, hey, how come RG Trustee is the trustee, right? And we are the trustee for interest schemes, such as Nirvana interest scheme, and these are our presences in the market. And if our customer asks, there I see. So you basically what you are selling right now, because we are telling our asset planner, you have to understand our businesses. Then only from there you can be able to link up with our customers. So some corporate client will ask us, yeah, I do see RSP trustee name because actually if I ever invest to some of the REITs such as Sunway REITs, Assist REITs, or AMB REITs, right? And I find out RSP is a trustee. So I want to learn more, know more about the trustee services, private trust services that you are offering. So this is where we want to let you know, at least you have to know our where we actually come from, right? So if you look at that, the private purpose trust actually service it actually serve for various goal, the investment goal, the charitable goal, education and maintenance goal, right? So let's move forward. So basically, private purpose trust services, we have these are the few important trust structures that we have, right? However, at this moment, we are currently on hold the Takaful Trust or insurance trust and also business assurance trust funding by insurance policy and asset insurance trust funding by insurance policy, unless your customer are willingly to fork out the payment of the what called adverse stamp duty for the transfer or assignment insurance policy. Right. So this is the subject matter we will have always bring out during our conventional training, right? In Malaysia, starting from 2021, end of 2021, right? Beginning of 2022 to the second during that time, Malaysian Lembaga Hasil Dalam Negeri actually implement uh a series of a new guideline in terms of they want to charge the average stamp duty, right? Which is 1 to 4% based on the sum assured of the insurance policy amount. Whenever you assign an insurance policy to a third party, right? To the assignee, right? So with this transaction implement, most of the insurance company impact, right? And we have also seen some of the insurance trust, our case also over here has been impacted as well. So at this moment, we have on the whole it. And I believe that most of the time, our Liam's association, Liam Association, if you're aware, you're in the insurance industry, Life Insurance Association of Malaysia, where all the CEO of insurance company are inside there as a committee. They are actively, constantly in the dialogue with our Lembaga Hasil Negeri. Also, we also hope that there will be a good outcome and they're going to remove this the adverse stamp duty. Right. So at this moment, just want to let you know, well, majority of private trust services that we have the insurance policy as a funding method, right? So we will on hold it first. But however, it will stop you to learn more about private trust services. And today we are talking to you that our private purpose trust, right? How are you going to use it in terms of to serve your customer, to want to provide a funding for their family, for their minor children as an education fund, or some of the customers want to set up a fund to serve their their charitable purpose, or they actually want to set up a fund to at the same time to accumulate all their earnings, right? Set as investment vehicles from there. Right, so this is actually designed for each individual for their specific intentions and needs. Right, so we just give you a very rough example. Usually, customer will set up this trust basically want to provide constant living maintenance for their aging parents or special need childs, or even though for themselves, right? So this is one of the key reasons why I want to set up private purpose trust. And we always aware that some of the news in the industry, right, where people always look at that, know why we need to actually have a few tools, asset planning tools to to actually to help out our customers, because every asset plan, right, if you're relying on a single tools, right, it can be quite risky, right? For example, if you're relying only on the will writing services itself, of course, it's essential tools, right? However, sometimes a will isn't enough to serve all the purpose. But majority of us, if we are in the mass market, definitely if a customers at least written a will is essential, is the key need at this moment, right? However, if you want to look for a more comprehensive asset planning, or asset plan or complete asset plan, there are some documents, the will, there are some of the goal the will may not be able to help out, right? And in other countries, if you actually studying for financial planning, you know that in other country we have using a power attorney, right? Lasting power attorney, and also advanced medical directive, right? So in Malaysia, most of us, the penetration of writing a will just very, very low, less than 15%. So our goal is to boost up the penetration rate. At least most of Malaysian, they they do a simple will first, right? So from there, you have more sophisticated customers that will lead to use trust. So trust, look at that. That I'm actually highlight these words. Right? Trust with their many users and flexibility are another reason that the will is not enough. And one of the key reasons is the will only be able to execute when we actually pass away. However, trust, it can be execute, it can be constantly actively provide your the support to your living maintenance while you're still alive, right? So many goals can be accomplished that the will may not be able to do so. With a trust, your asset can avoid probate and your privacy can be maintained, right? I put it as this one example. Every person will pass away. If you pass away and you appointed executors submit the application to the High Court Malaysia, apply the grant of probate. Once we got the grant of probate, basically your will become a public document. And your privacy may not be able to maintain. Whatever you have written in the will, it will be you will be able to let other people to see it, right? So this is important why some of the rich client, they will actually use trust to protect the assets to, if I have specific distribution, unique distribution for a certain people or for certain beneficiary that I like, I may want to use trust because I want to protect the asset, right, from creditors, and also I want to make sure that my privacies can be maintained. And some of the customers, they are using trust to as a tool to ring fence their creditors, right? So it can be done as well. However, in Malaysia, we need to always look at there's during my training for commercial asset planning training for second day, the trust planning session, I will always talk about the 2 years and 5 year rules, right? So these are the rules that we need to we need to refer to it. So there's a period for you to set up a trust. After the period of maybe, for example, 5 years, and the creditor may not be able to actually touch the asset. set aside in the trust, right? This is why some of our wealthy customers, they want to use the trust to help out to this can be actually one of the benefits that can surpass a will, right? And we can discuss more about this, how we use this as a features later on, right? So these are some newspaper cutting that you can actually have a look and go and Google search online some of the biggest asset planning mistake and why we have such a mistake and why people actually because when we do a will, many ways we can have our will written, right? Some of the customers, they also talk to me, Jeff, actually I can got an online template. I can actually we download online template and from there I can draft a will myself, a DIY my will. So I would say no, better we don't do it because it's gonna be some of the situation, some mistake that we may not know, right, we have made. And when we talk about setting up a trust, obviously some of the customers will actually look at this, the estate and inheritance tax. So surprisingly, when I talk to many of the expats in Malaysia, right, particularly for Japanese and Korean, and some of them are from UK, right, they like Malaysia very much because Malaysia basically right now we have zero estate tax and inheritance tax. It's 0%, right? However, in Korea and Japan, definitely is way more than that, right? So you can actually look at Malaysia. However, if you look at Malaysia, we know that the ringgit Malaysia is actually depreciating, right? It's weakened. However, to some of the aspect, they find it no, Malaysia is become more attractive to most of the estate, to more of the aspect, right? People are coming from Korea, Japan, or China, they are moving to Malaysia just because Malaysia are very friendly to them. They do not have inheritance tax when they pass away, all right? So we look at that the 70% of rich family lost their wealth by second generation. And these are some of the newspaper cutting we want to actually let you guys know, right? We're having a will itself. The will may not be able to settle all the objective, right? One of the key reason is once the will has been distributed, once the will, the executor execute the will following the wishes of the testator has mentioned in the will, usually is one-off distribution. So one-off distribution means that whenever we transfer the wealth to the next generation, they will most likely on their own usage living patterns whatsoever or their own knowledge or their own uh no needs, right? They generally we actually use up 70% of their wealth, right? So we believe that this is one of the key reason why the rich families, they are looking out ways to secure their assets, right? So no, sometimes it can be combination of lots of things, right? If you look at the newspaper cutting over here, through a combination of bad decision, bad luck, alcohol dependency, right? Next generation is squandering the money, and we do have our customers spoken to us. Jeff, actually I'm quite worried because with the wealth one-off distribution to them, I believe they are very rich during the time when I'm still struggling during my time, right? But they actually are very well off already. So is there any other way, right? Because we also know that out there right now, many of them, what they worry is about the investment scheme, right? And there are many scammers out there. If they know that your next generations or your beneficiaries or your son, your daughter, they have huge fortune or they will huge wealth going to inherit, they are going to target them, right? So they are looking out ways. We'll sit down with them how to use trust to secure their asset, right? So this was the way we can actually pitch our trust as a financial planning tools for them, right? So not only that, you begin to see in Singapore, right, we do have also family office structures. However, the family office structures in Malaysia, we were still very, I think, not very familiar for to all the Malaysian. And to Malaysian, majority of us, we don't even have a will sometimes. right? So uh the context of Singapore and Malaysia is different. However, if you're looking for the high net worth customers context, they are also looking out not only for private living trust, also setting up for family office, right? So wealth structuring and regulations, and you know, these are the Chinese are always mentioned the we call it 富不过三代, right? Chinese there's a dash mentioned that it means that if it translates to engage well does not survive 3 generations. But is that true? Is that true? Uh the the Western, they have their ways to distribute. They can use insurance policy, they can use investment fund, they can use company share to distribute accordingly. However, though for ours as a Chinese Asian countries over here, we find out not particular to Chinese, I think you see to all the Asian of us, we have different races over here. We have Chinese, we have Malay, we have Indian, and to all the Asian countries, we believe that the wealth does not survive 3 generations. That's because of they do not have tools to structure their wealth, right? So over the decades, we have many tools that just I mentioned to you. The will is one of the way to distribute, but we have the trust, private purpose trust, and we also have the power of attorney. We also have the family office structures, right? So a few topics that you might need to highlight and note down in your notes, right? When we talk to customers about wealth planning, it's always talking about these few subject matters. First of all, the key objective is to do how to help our customer in terms of asset protections. Secondly, spendthrift protections. Thirdly, tax planning. And the last part is succession planning, right? So these key 4 important subject matters is always the key goal for me. Key subject matter I will actually talk to customers within this under these 4 important objectives, right? Customer will never I think most of the subject matters are is talking about asset protections, spendthrift protection, tax planning, as I mentioned just now, right? We do not have inheritance tax. And in Malaysia, we have I think to some of the customers, they dispose of their in-world property, right? The tax is not as high as Singapore. However, in Singapore, if you look at tax planning, Singapore are very smart. Their company tax are actually as compared to Malaysia, 24%, they are up to 15%. So some of the high level customers, they do have their office set up over there, right? So these are the few things that we can talk about that, but I just gave you a rough idea. So you can go back and do some research on these few topics. Then you have the resources for you to talk to customers. Okay? All right. I hope you guys got my point on this part. If you note down in the notes, that's good. So go back after today's training. After today's training, you can go back and do some research, and maybe you can have some discussion with a team and talk about this, right? So maybe you can also think of brainstorming with your team to see whether your insurance policy can be one of the tools to serve this objective or not. Asset protection, spendthrift protections, tax planning, and succession planning. All right. And for Malaysia itself, I will still have to go through the facts that we have to face, which is we generally better aware these days of the benefit of having a will and a complication that can arise for family of those who have died intestate. So majority of Malaysian, there's about up to only 15% of Malaysian have a will, right? There's about 85% of Malaysian do not have a will. They have a possibility to pass away intestate, means that have to follow distribution at Malaysia, right? So today's subject matter is what is trust, okay? So I think the trust to some of the beginners, right? They might find it, Jeff, is I do study this previously, but can you let me know in the know in a simple way how trust form, right? How we form a trust and what is trust, right? Basically, when we talk about trust, you're gonna have a few important key points here you want to mention, customer. First of all, there will be a settlor. The settlor will you will transfer the asset, settle the asset to the trustee, right? So I would just use the other words, we call transfer the asset to the trustee, right? So there will be another role we call trustee, who is under legal obligation to hold and manage the asset for the benefit of your beneficiary. See, now we have three roles over here in this sentence: the settlor, the trustee, and also the beneficiaries, right? You can see that this beneficiary is not limited to one person, but a few person. It can be up to there's no limitation on this, but it's up to the settlor appointment. Right. So from here, we can see there's a keyword over here. Jeffrey, you mentioned just now three roles: settlor, trustee, and beneficiary. And what are the key points that you need to highlight? That is the legal obligation to hold and manage the asset for the benefit of your beneficiary. Look at that, the legal obligation, the benefit. So when we transfer the trust to the trustee, basically this asset, there are two important key points we need to talk about that, the structure. First of all, we call the legal ownership of the asset. Secondly, the beneficial interest of the asset, right? So when we transfer, we only transfer the legal ownership to the trustee. So today we said I transfer a property to trustee, the land title has to appear RC trustee name, right? However, the trustee cannot enjoy the benefit as the beneficiary. You hear what I mean, right? So you transfer to trustee. Trustee has a legal obligation to hold, but the benefits, where does the benefit goes? It will actually, the trustee has to use the benefit to serve your beneficiary, to provide to a beneficiary. So for example, this property have rental income every month, for example, 20,000, and this property is my solely owned shop lot, where this shop lot maybe worth about 3 mil, right? Perhaps 3 mil. Okay. I just give a rough idea, 3 mil. And I just afraid when I pass away, my children still very young, right? So I just want to I have this idea. So transfer this property to ISU trustee, right? So this property basically I'm actually renting out to a bank. So every year we have this rental income, right? Every month also get rental income. So this rental income, I want to use rental income. I want to make sure the rental income all goes to my beneficiaries, right? So the asset we transfer to the settlor during lifetime, we hold and manage the property. We upkeep the property. The rental income will be goes to the trust. Based on the trust deed we draft together with the settlor, right? There will be a written instruction on the terms of the trust. You can use the trust, instead of trust deed, you can mention, Jeffrey, I want the trustee to use a rental yield to support my beneficiaries in terms of living maintenance, health consideration, whatsoever, right? So this is a trust setup, right? So when we talk about trust, there will be a three role, just I mentioned, settlor, trustee, and beneficiary. And of course, there will be important. What are the trust assets we want to put into the trust, transfer to the trust, right? What are the asset? The asset can be used to transfer to the trust, funding of the trust, right? They must be free of encumbrances, right? Please highlight this keyword. Must be free from encumbrances. Please note down. All the asset transferred to the trust, to the trustee, must be of free from encumbrances. What do you mean by that? Today, Jeffrey, this property, if I actually got a loan from Maybank or a public bank, right, to buy this shop lot, right? So can I transfer my asset wholly to RG trustee to do trust? So we find out cannot, because you still have outstanding debts yet to be cleared. Mr. Customer, you need to make sure this asset is free from encumbrances. You cleared all the outstanding debts. Then only you can transfer to trustee. Are you clear, Mr. Customer? So the customer said, okay, fine. So what about, can I use cash? Yes, you can use cash, transfer into it, because the transfer of cash doesn't involve any cost. Can I use insurance policy? Yes, previously can. However, right now in this moment, if your insurance policy actually you're using a Malaysian insurance policy and via the transfer or what we call the asset assignment insurance policy servicing request. Over here, if you submit to the Lembaga Dalam Negeri, they will charge the average stamp duty. So these are the things that we tell customer, maybe you on hold first. So what about unit trust? Unit trust, you can transfer also, but subject to the unit trust company. Look at the unit trust company, whether they are allowed to transfer or not. There are stocks and share and landed property, as mentioned just now, right? So these are the few funding method of trust generally. So the trust deed is the written instructions, the contract between the settlor and the trustee. So the beneficiary basically cannot do it, cannot say, today, let's say trustee give me only 5,000. I do not like it. I want to have more. I want to have 10,000. Can he or she request on that? Cannot. Right. So basically, this is how the concept of trust. Okay. So there must be of something that just I mentioned. What kind of asset transfer to the trust? And what are the usage you want the trustee to what the benefit you want trustee provide? The third important point is the duration of time. You want trustee to hold for how long? Can you give me a specific duration? So all of these must be clear, must be stated inside the trustee. All right. So when we set up a trust, why? There's always a why. We must ensure the proceeds are used for the actual intended purposes beneficiaries. And you decide on when and how to distribute, which is the settler going to decide. And the trust can be tailor-made to meet the various needs and objectives. Then, why key important also people set up a trust is the asset inside the trust, the asset inside the trust, particularly for asset inside the trust, I'm not talking about all the asset, but only the asset you already transfer to the trust. Those assets will not it's not subject to probate or letter of administration requirement. Right? When the person pass away, or even they are not passed away, we are still alive, right? You can use the asset. Right. Therefore, the fund, since it's not subject to grant of probate or letter of administration requirement, the fund will not be frozen upon demise. So it requires generally for insurance trust, right? Previously, why many people set up insurance trust? Because today, Jeffrey, you mentioned I can put 500,000 cash into a trust, right? How about if today I do not have 500,000 cash, I can buy an insurance policy with the sum assured of 500,000. Can I use that to create a trust? Yes. Previously, many of us, our asset manager, using this way, which I taught them to upsell their insurance policy, upsell a very big ticket insurance policy to their customers. Yes, definitely. However, now there's a implementation of this LGN rule, but however, it will stop us from learning. We always stay positively looking out. There will be someday the LGN will remove this. All right. So just to come back our key learning objective today, setting our trust, you must actually know why people do that. These are the various objectives. And some customers, when they are set with trust, they will ask you, Jeffrey, is there any person can set up a trust? Can the organization set up a trust? Yes. Yes. But when the organization set up a trust, it will be a corporate trustee, corporate trustee, right? So today our subject matter is talking about private living trust. They will be looking at when the person set up a trust, he or she will become a settlor, right? So generally, when set up a trust, I can actually set the rule. This asset with trustee, I want to give to whom? It is up to my preference. It's subject to my preference, right? Even though I want to set up a trust to provide a certain living maintenance fund to my friend, can I do that? Yes, you can do that. Yeah. It's not subject to Inheritance Family Project Act 1971. So why I say so? Because when you have yesterday we talked about rewriting services, and if you go through our conventional asset planning learning program, the first day we talk about doing a will, do then the second half day we talk about how to fill up the forms and making sure that there are some group of people that the immediate family people like such as your spouse, your minor children, disabled children, right? And the unmarried daughter, they are considered as under the inheritance family project, you have to set aside something for them, right? So for trust, no need to. It's not binding by this act. As I mentioned, you set a rule to give to whom, right? The trust setup over here, generally, right? We go through review later on, right? There will be you can set up for revocable trust or irrevocable trust, right? So when we talk about trust, generally, there are a few important points, right? When you create a trust, when we talk, always people talk about 5 years rules, 5 years rule, what is that, right? Usually the 5 year rules later, we have to show you on that. The 5 year rules, why people want to set up trust, because after a certain period of years, they can have this full protection against creditor during bankruptcy, right? However, it's not if the customer setting out a trust for the purpose of money laundering, right? So it's not fully protect against those creditor I mean those creditor, because you have actually used the asset, right, for a certain purpose, which is money laundering. So once, like in Singapore, there's a biggest scam, I think financial scheme recently they find out they're using the various investment vehicles with the banks to there's to fund their money laundering activities. So we are very, very careful when we have setting up trust with our customer as well. The KYC has to be done tediously, has to be very careful when we select our customers. So when I talk about against bankruptcy, yes, of course, you can use trust to do so, right? But provided must go through a period of 5 years, right, upon create of trust. So after a certain years, right, the creditor unable to claim the asset trust. Yeah. So there are some of the key points. Let me go through the reason why set up a trust. Later we'll go through with you the key differences of setting up a trust. Yeah. So why set up a trust? You can use a trust, yeah, to distribute the asset following your own choice. Some of the customers, they have some concern. Yesterday night, right, one of the agent called me. They said, one of the agent, they reached out to me, right? We have a chat over the phone. The customer basically family structure is a bit complicated. We have I mean he has two family. Yeah, two family. So basically, you know, these two family sometimes they may not be able to get along, right? They have so they have partners, he has partners, he have wife, right? And he may not want some beneficiary appear in the will, right? Is there any other way? Right? Definitely he asked me, yes, there's other way. But whether or not he is a key important person, right? To decide whether you want to use only the will, or if you want to name all the beneficiaries, including the second family members inside the will. Can or not? The law doesn't say cannot. You can do so, but would it be a disaster? I'm sure during will reading session, perhaps yes, because the will sometimes is quite biased to a certain party. Yeah, he may seems like distribute a lot more asset to this only one person, right? Which I think it could be a disaster, right? So there's also why they have a trust. So I say best you have another alternative way to distribute your wealth, right? So this is how your advisor come in as a role to advise your customer, you see, right? So from there, so we tell customer exempted, no, sorry, not exempted. We go back to that the note first note. So we tell customer you have a few options. You have the insurance policy. Also, you can use the insurance policy to distribute well, and also trust. Yeah. So I give customer a few, some of the suggestions, the points that they can distribute their wealth. So not only that, we have met some customers if they are, particularly if they are Muslim friends, right? Our Muslim friends or Muslim client, right? Trust in Malaysia, we don't have Islamic trust. There's no Islamic trust. But however, when we set up a trust, definitely it's exempted from foreign distribution because why? Because when you set up a trust, you have to transfer the asset to another party, which is you legally transfer that particular asset to the trustee. you no longer own the asset anymore. Therefore, it's not subject to your own firing distribution, right? Definitely for this such arrangement, it has to be irrevocable trust. Means that when I do such arrangement, it's irrevocably done. I cannot say today I want to transfer to trustee, the next day I say I want to take back, right? So this is not under their firing distribution. This is not as a what we call this distribution way is always can revocable, right? Is that therefore is subject to foreign distribution. So when we do a set of trust, especially for Muslim friends where they want to use trust to plan to particularly want to making sure this trust work its own way and we will not be bind by foreign distribution, we will use the private living trust and have a setup for irrevocably done. It's a irrevocable trust. Yeah. So of course, the terms of trust and condition, the how I'm going to distribute the wealth will be very private. Yeah, this is why no whether you are have wealthy customers or like just now I mentioned, the customer got two family. Yeah, he may want to use a trust to ensure the confidential and privacy are there. Right, it's a private document between settlor and trustee. Right, the beneficiaries, yeah, they are able to see how much the other beneficiary can got it, right? So we have to do it very carefully unless you as a settler, you share to a beneficiary. Yeah, you see, I give you 5,000 a month, but I give you brother 10,000 a month because I think male should get more. Yeah. Yesterday night we still talking about to my client, right? I mean to my asset planner, my client. We're still talking about nowadays, right? Uh no youngster will not be able to accept. You're telling me that for male and female, uh male should get more than female. So I tell them, well, if you have a will reading and have such arrangement, you gotta be prepared. The the youngster are not going to be the next generation are not going to be very welcome to this arrangement. Yeah. So unlike will, so because no matter or not, if you have read the will, it becomes a public document, right? Whether you like it or not like it, this is the arrangement from the testator. But the trust is confidential. The beneficiary cannot say, I want to ask more, I want to ask for more. Yeah. So the beneficiary even don't know how much we give to the other beneficiary because all set in is actually inside a private document between settlor and trustee, right? Unless the settlor share it to the beneficiary. So this is why the I already highlight a few differences for will and trust, if you notice, right? But here we do a summary for between the will and trust over here. Okay, so just want to draw a line for will and trust because many of us here are still very you just joined us a few couple of months, right? So I just want to go through for will and WhatsApp and also trust. So from here, the will is a legal document that state your wishes regarding distribution of your asset, your entire asset, yeah, and the guardianship of any minor children. So this is how the function of will was set, right? Right, the guardianship of any minor children. Yes, you notice correctly. This is a keyword. When we why people want to have a will also. Not only the distribution of your asset, yeah, you can note down in your notebook the guardianship of any minor children. When we talk about will and wasiat, yeah, of course wasiat, the appointment of guardianship of minor children only can be done for the dad itself, for the husband, yeah, the wife cannot point of the guardianship of minor children. You want to learn more? Please attend our Islamic asset planning training class. Yeah. So I just to give you the overview over here. For will, both husband and wife via your will, you can have your wishes and testamentary appointment for the guardianship of minor children, right? So please also check through all the notes that those you attended our training. Please go through all the notes, right, and the slides that we have sent to you, right? Definitely inside the will writing training, we already mentioned, right, appointment of guardian. So it's what we call the Guardianship Infant Act. Yeah, appointment of guardian is subject to a Guardianship Infant Act. So why do I need a will and wasiat? Because as I mentioned, if you do not have it, you have to follow the Distribution Act of Malaysia, right? So because if you have a wasiat or a will, right? Basically, wasiat, the function of wasiat is not it's very different from will. The function of WhatsApp is basically you want to choose who will be the main executors and maybe up to one third of the estate, you can distribute according to your wish. Two-thirds is subject to foreign distribution. However, for will, which is non-Muslim, our client who are non-Muslim, under the will itself, you can clearly state who gets how much, the allocation of this asset, entire asset give to whom, or an organization upon your demise. Yeah. So it can actually reduce many messy legal dispute or strained relationship. Yeah. Or cause emotional distress. Yeah, it can reduce. However, it cannot eliminate. Why? Because if let's say some customer, yesterday customer also, they asked me if I chose this executor as my executor to execute my wishes. Yeah. What are the key anything I need to be aware of, yeah, or understand that these consequences. I say, okay, of course, first of all, the person you've chosen has to be very responsible, genuine person, and an honest person, right? So if he or she is not responsible, uh, maybe after they collect all the asset, just sit on the asset and do not want to distribute, can be that way as well, right? There are some news appears that some executor has mismanaged the fund. Yes, it is. So we cannot eliminate many legal dispute purely because this appointment comes from the testator. Yeah. So look at trust. What is the trust? It is a legal document that gives the responsibility to a trustee to manage and preserve the trust property, right? So today, the settlor and the trustee, in between them, that will be a legal document. Yeah, clearly mentioned this is the asset I transfer to you, and you hold on trust, jaga this asset for a period of time. Who are my beneficiaries? And whenever there's a new asset want to inject into the trust, or want to remove the asset, or new beneficiary want to add into the trust, or want to remove a certain beneficiaries, I need to do a supplementary trust deed. Yeah. So this trust deed document is very key. It's very important to making sure we have the agreement between us is legal binding. Yeah. Ensure all the assets we use efficiently, following my wishes, meet all my wishes for me, myself, and my loved ones. Yeah. So basically, it's very powerful because you have to transfer the asset to this trustee. Yeah. So if today I set up a trust and for a purpose of my succession planning for my family, and I have no intention to run away from debts, yeah. And suddenly I got a project and I actually suffer a loss from that project, and eventually I become bankrupt person. So the asset already transferred to the trust to the trustee will not be able to no, some of the customers say, oh, the creditor can then claim against the asset inside the trust. No, they the creditor cannot simply go to the trustee and say, I want to claim the asset. Cannot. Yeah. Usually it's the Director General of Insolvency will look out for the trustee to claim the asset. However, they cannot simply claim the asset as well. As I mentioned, if there's no intention to circumvent the debts, the creditors, yeah, or you have no intention to use the trust to get away from debts, cannot simply get no to forfeit the asset from there. Yeah, that's why the trust asset over here generally is very, very safe, because if we have do it for a period of time, the transfer has been done for a period of time, the trustee have every reason, the legal reason to uphold it. Even though now you are a bankrupt person, your family members, they're still able to enjoy the living standard as you already said in the trust. This is how the trust and the will is differences. And one important part is the trust can be executed while we're still alive, not only upon death, but we and ourselves upon death. All right. So this is a key graph I want to share to you all, which also you can find it in your training slide. Yeah, I purposely want to make we will put it over here. It's because this is very, very important. And customer at one glance will definitely know the probate why we have a will, where we have a trust asset is totally different. It's two scenario. You look at that. Upon person pass away, whether you have a will or do not have a will, right? Whether you have a will or do not have a will, all your asset will be frozen. And you have a will, go to GP and following will distribute. We do not have a will, go to LA following the law of intestacy to distribute accordingly, depending on whether you are pass away in Sabah or Malaysia, Peninsular Malaysia, right? So that will be following the laws of intestacy. However, today if I set up a trust, the assets set inside a trust, no application needed. Following the way you want to distribute, we distribute. This is not only upon death, but while still living or still alive, when you're still having a retirement age, retirement duration with at this moment already, some customers say, Jeff, can I set up a trust fund when I retire? I make sure the trust fund will support me every monthly maintenance. You can do so. The trust can be worked in that way as well. Yeah. So these are one of the key key reason why people want to set up a trust. Yeah. So over here, you can use the graph, this slide to actually highlight the differences for will and trust. So of course, the uncertainty occurs will be I think just want to add on this point. If let's say whether you have a will or do not have a will, some uncertainties may occur. Let's say the appointment of the executor over here, when you have a will, executor, they do not want to execute the will, or they're unable to execute the will if the executor are seriously ill, or some of the family members they challenge the will, the validity of will. So these are all the uncertainty may occur. Or some, I think the key issue over here, we have a will or do not have a will, is debts. Yeah, I just want to highlight this part, debts. Yeah, so all of the advisor over here, I hope you guys actively talk to a customer. Hey, Mr. Customer, please make sure you bought your insurance. Yeah, whether if you do not have a will, whether one distribute following will or do not want to distribute following a will, following the laws of intestacy, your executor or administrator have to make sure every single cent have to pay all the outstanding debts before distribute to your next generation. Bear in mind, these are the key issue for all the Malaysian. These are the key issue for all Malaysian. Many of us, we thought that we pass away, all the debts will go away. No, everything will, yes, of course, when we pass away, you may not be able to physically pay all the debts, but the debt's still there. Your estate will still have to pay the debts. Yeah. So your executor will not use their own money to pay the debts, but your estate. If your asset do not have money, then how? You have to force sell, dispose of your property. Yeah. But it's actually taking longer time for you to dispose property. Okay. So these are the uncertainty I want to highlight over here. So in terms of trust, we have of course, just want to give some overview of trust. We have express trust, statutory trust, or if you look at statutory trust, what are the examples of statutory trust? For example, your insurance policy, your trust policy, you are setting up if you buy a policy and you nominate your wife as a nominee, and these are the trust policy. And this statutory trust, definitely, the creditor unable to touch the asset over there. Yeah. So that's why it's very powerful. You have a trust policy. And you have express trust. To them, express trust means what? I actually express it. I have a written document to mention who are my trustee, who are my trustee, who are my beneficiaries, and these are my assets. Yeah. These are better known as a living trust, intervival trust. So, and on the other way is testamentary trust. Yeah. I just want to touch on this subject matter, testamentary trust. Testament trust, in other words, we call by way of will, we call a will trust, So testament trust and living trust, the key differences is testament trust only can be set up when a person pass away and only when all the debts being settled. All the debts being settled off, there's zero debts already, then only the testament trust can be executed, can be setting up, And it's very, very, very depending on whether the trustee are capable to do so or not. Generally, testamentary trustee has to be a very professional trustee because before that, this executor and trustee has to execute their role as an executor, right? Distribute all the asset to all the asset beneficiaries. Those want to distribute for the will, distribute. Then in the will itself, got testimony trust, and this trustee then only setting up a separate account to hold on trust that for that particular trust asset. Yeah. So it's a long process for testimony trust. So in other words, some of the asset planner ask me, Jeffrey, my customer has a will written previously with the other trustee company. Inside that will, actually many things written there. Many trusts written there, a testamentary trust written there, or the testamentary trust have many instructions. What if my customer lost that document, lost the entire will? Then how the trust? Can I where can I find the trust? I say the testamentary trust basically is written in your will. If you lost the will, the entire will document, you lost it, you do not have the trust set up as well. Right? So bear in mind, the testamentary trust is by way of will inside the will, right? So if your will changed by somebody, or you lost a will, or you do a new will, the previous testament trust inside the will definitely be revoked, or definitely it's gonna be it's not of use, right? So living trust is different. Living trust is separate document. You set up a trust with this trustee. Yeah. So express trust is always by way of trustee. Yeah. Therefore, when we set a living trust, we have deed together with our customer and us. All right. I hope you guys clear on this part. And this is one of the key points I want to make sure want to explain to you. Testamentary trust, it takes effect after the demise of testator is created under will. And the testator has expressed clear terms in his intention to create trust and satisfy legal requirement. So generally, it's not a created proof trust. Look at this keyword you note down. Testamentary trust is not created proof trust, right? However, to some customers, why they want to set up testamentary trust? Yeah, why? You can have your call. You can mention why people want to set up testamentary trust in the chat box. Why people want to set up testamentary trust? Yeah. So testamentary trust, generally people set up testamentary trust because they may not want to transfer the trust property at this moment, or they find it very costly to transfer to the other trustee. Why not? I pass away, when we execute the will, then only transfer. Therefore, it's a bit cheapest form of trust, right? However, there's a risk of the trust may not be able to execute. Yeah, you have to understand this. Okay, so I hope you guys clear on this part. Okay, right. So generally, if you have I'll just give you an example over here. For example, minor generally cannot have property under their own names for beneficiaries. Yeah. If you notice your customer right have a will written, then they say, okay, I want to give this property specifically to two of my children. They are minors. One 2 years old, the other one only 7 months. So can they inherit? Can they inherit the property upon your demise? Say, for example, they done a will, after this will, they pass away due to accident. Can they inherit? Cannot. Remember always when our training we have mentioned already, to inherit, you have to reach 18 years old. And this act is age of majority act. 18 years old. Once you become 18 years old, then only you can inherit. With that, before the inheritance, the minor can inherit. The inheritance will be hold on trust. The asset will be hold on trust by whom? By your trustee, who are also the personal representative. Yeah. Because under this, you see, the section 75, you see, I actually even look for the section to put out here. I think it's very crucial for you guys to have it. Yeah. This section 75 Probate and Registry Act 1959, inside they mentioned a trustee appointed by them, right, will hold the minor entitlement in the estate on trust until the minor beneficiary attains age of majority. This is one of the form of a statutory trust as well. So why people have to create testament trust? Because when I know that the trustee is going to hold this trust asset for a period of time, right? For example, this is not property. If this is this property, we call it is a cash. Yeah, this trust property is a cash. So within this period, I can also have instruction for my trustee to use it for my minors, living expenses, or health expenses if they're needed. Yeah. So in my will, I also can create such testament trust with that function. If you notice our will writing form, there's a section G part, appointment, setting of testimony trust. There's the function or description of trustee over there. And this is where we come from, why we have the testimony trust written there. And many of the asset managers ask me, Jeff, I notice, right, if I write a will with a lawyer out there, majority of them don't encourage me to have written a testimony trust. They say, right, a simple will do. Yes, that's why. Why? Because their objective is to making sure the will distribute the distribution of will is very, very straightforward, simple, and not complicated. So generally, if you have testimony trust written in the will, you can do that. Yeah, it's not uh the lawyer do not want to help you, but you have the testimony trust written, the lawyer can help you, but the key important role is your executor and trustee, whether they are able to do so. They have a capability to execute this role or not. Right. So why we trustee company, we have the form setting up there for option to do a trust or not. Because when we as a trustee company, we have the capability to execute this role as a corporate trustee. Yeah. So just to let you know on this part. They are the fundamental of trust to when we create a trust, right? The certainty of trust property, certainty of beneficiaries, and certainty of intentions, right? I think this we have go through with your trust planning sessions. Yeah, just to recap on this fundamental trust, where you guys have to, why recap over here is important. When we set up a trust, the fundamental trust you have to understand. Certainty of trust quality means that when I set a trust, if a customer tell you that, Jeff, my customer set a trust, but he don't know what kind of asset want to put into a trust, I say, okay, fine. Then we basically cannot set up trust first. We must make sure what kind of trust property you're going to set aside into a trust. The certainty of trust property. And if customer tell me that you want to set up trust and you want to transfer the benefit to your beneficiaries. But customer mentioned that, Jeff, my customer still unable to decide who will be the trust beneficiaries. So there must be somebody able to, you have to come up with the list. Yeah. So this has been written, has to be stated inside the trust deed. Therefore, no matter how your customers still have to give us who is your intended beneficiaries. Yeah, like I just mentioned. You cannot say, I I want to have a trust, but I don't know what kind of trust body inject. I don't know who will be my beneficiary. You have to know the certainty of the beneficiary, certainty of trust property, as well as the certainty of intention. Yeah. Have to identify clearly, yeah, what kind of intention you want us to do for the living expenses, living maintenance of the trust beneficiaries, medical expenses, education expenses to cover by the fund. Yeah. So identify clearly what kind of property is very important, because from here, if your customer told you that, Jeff, my customer want to set up a trust basically using this property. This property is a double story house. Yeah, worth about 1.2 mil, something like that. Yeah, in KL area, right? So want to make use of this property. Basically it's for their children, but living expenses and also medical. So I will ask them only this property, right? So why I will ask them only this property? Because we always have to be put ourselves in that situation. What if the customer beneficiaries really want to use the fund for their living maintenance or medical expenses? If that situation, the trust beneficiary admitted to hospital, they want to use the fund for emergency operation. How to use the fund? the property is there, there's no cash inside the fund, we are able to execute this intention, these instructions. So it's not feasible to do set up a trust with just the property itself, and you want to serve this purpose. You get what I mean? It must be of very, very careful. Uh, you have to understand the consequences, understand what is going to be uh in that scenario. How are going to use up the fund to serve the purposes? If not, better we don't set up the trust. Yeah. So this is one of the way as advisor always ask why and what kind of property can able to serve that purpose. Trust property, yeah. So clearly the cash, why majority of our private trust setup customer inject cash? That's because we want to serve this purpose. And the what we call the beneficiary over there must be somebody who is favorable to the court can decree the performance and compel a trustee to carry out their duties. Yeah. So therefore, if you have any beneficiaries uh out there are some of the customers say, can I put my beneficiary as a trustee? So in such a relation, definitely I trustee will not do that, right? Because he himself he himself become the beneficiary also become the trustee. No, we will not do that. Yeah. So you have to be very clear on these three certainty of fundamental of trust, right? Of course, this is also extracted from our training slide. Fundamental of trust, no infringement against public policy, and no infringement in respect of rules against perpetuity. So first of all, why we say no infringement against public policy? You cannot set up a trust which is preventing a beneficiary to choose his own religious belief. If the trust beneficiaries say, I want my trust beneficiaries to making sure if you are Muslim, you cannot enjoy the benefit of the trust. Yeah. Or indirectly seek for the beneficiary to seek for encourage the beneficiary to seek for divorce. Yeah. So obviously this is against public policy, against our public policy that you, because everyone of Malaysia we have yeah free will to choose their own religious belief, and also I can free will to choose all my partners. Yeah. So a trust doesn't work in that way against the public policy. Yeah. So we have to carefully sit down with customer, talk to customer, what kind of instructions is able to work to execute, or it's not actually against the public policy. Yeah. And no infringement in respect of rule against perpetuity. Generally for trust in Malaysia setup, follow common law. We have because we inherit the UK law system over here. It's 80 years, or subject to the person of one person living when the trust is created at 21 years. What is it by that? Yeah. It means that when the trust setting up, the maximum period is 80 years, or until the trust beneficiaries pass away after 21 years, the last trust beneficiary pass away after 21 years, then the trust has to be closed early, right? However, generally, I will tell you, if we don't set a period, when are we going to hold? The chances of the trust generally we end up in a scenario that the fund are able to sustain and will be depleted and accordingly. Yeah. If the trust fund are able to sustain generally because you do not have enough fund to sustain or to afford the instructions that you're going to distribute. We put this way, customer mentioned, Jeff, I want my trust every month give my wife 20,000, my son, each of them 10,000. I got two sons, yeah. Generally 30,000 per month will be sorry, generally 40,000 per month you need to pay to them as a living expenses, yeah. So 40,000 per month every year, how much you gonna uh you 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 have to set aside at least 480,000 fund 480,000. And let's say your fund over here maybe 1 million or 2 million. So it's not viable for you to sustain for at least 10 years. Yeah. So the key subject matter over here is at least the duration when we set our trust, we tell customers at least you have to set aside the fund for 10 years first. When we run the trust, at least we go for 10 years first here. So In between that, let's say the fund are able to sustain not even up to 5 years, yeah, then no point for you to mention that the trust I want to no, I want to trust it to hold up to 80 years or 20 years because the fund is very, very depending on how you're going to instruct us to distribute accordingly. So we will sit down with the customer and talk to them the intention, whether can you reduce your money living expenses payable to them, yeah, distribute to them. So from there you are able to sustain you making sure that the trust are able to sustain for a longer period of time, right? So these are the things that we can tell customer to sit down and talk to them. And of course, as an advisor, you have to know the type of trust. We have irrevocable trust and irrevocable trust. So irrevocable trust means that settle are not allowed to cancel trust at all, right? And it's very, very suitable for creditors that have a trust and want to avoid creditors using Section 52 of Bankruptcy Act 1967. So if you are interested to know what we mean by Section 52 Bankruptcy Act 1967, please go through this act. Yeah, it means that all transaction and settlement during the first 2 years prior to bankruptcy are now in void. So means that today customer, right, he know uh I'm going to bankrupt. So I purposely set up a trust. So transfer all the asset to the trust. Then the next year I so happen to this I bankrupt already. And I taking the advantage of the trust can avoid the creditor, right, to come forward to come and claim my asset. So I using that trust as a vehicle to circumvent the creditor. So in that situation, no, yeah, the settlement, all transfer and settlement will be void because prior to bankruptcy, the first 2 years, right, is totally void. Are you clear on this part? Yeah. So you want to know more, definitely go to Section 52 Bankruptcy Act 1967. You will know what is the law actually talking about this situation. Yeah. Always when we talk about if let's say this is a revocable trust, so usually customer can allow to revoke anytime during his lifetime. They may not be able to enjoy this avoid creditor benefit avoid creditors creditor proof benefits over here. Right? So why people will set up for revocable trust generally? It's because maybe for example, I give you example, uh, uh, business association trust with buy-sell agreement setting up such arrangement is revocable trust because maybe this business only, uh, they after maybe after let's say we have customer after COVID, period of COVID of 2 to 3 years, the business just cannot work out anymore. So you want to close out business. Therefore, of course, want to revoke the previous association trust has been setting up because the business not making money, they want to close down. So therefore, such arrangement you need to do if you set up an irrevocable trust, it's not logic. Yeah, it doesn't fit to that purpose. Okay, I hope we understand that. So generally people set up irrevocable trust, there is a purpose over there. Okay, right. So we have irrevocable trust, we have revocable trust, and also in our training, we also mention fixed trust and discretionary trust, right? Fixed trust, whatever I mentioned to the entitlement are fixed. I cannot change. Yeah, very straightforward. Discretionary trust, I give discretion to trustee, though the entitlement up to a certain range, trustee can give discretion to decide a certain for a certain degree of arrangement for the money expenses can decide within the range. Yeah. So we have a letter of wishes. So majority of high net customer they choose to have discretionary trust with bank trustee and give more flexibility to customers, right? So that's we have this distributed trust. How are we going to help you to understand more about distributed trust? Don't worry. Later we using the letter wishes. This is also a bonus for you. And those who attended our training, yes, you got this letter wishes also. Yeah. So fixed and distributed trust. Generally, fixed trust very straightforward. Whatever written down there is fixed. You don't want to change. Yeah. So when you draw a distributed trust, it's very very depending on the person's legal knowledge and background and time cost on other charges to hire a third party lawyer, drafting a process of trustee or fixed trust whatsoever. Why no fixed trust is really whatever is being written down the transit, yeah, if you want to change the fixed entitlement, you need to do a supplemental deed again. Perhaps you need to hire a lawyer, do it again and again. So customer will find it quite troublesome and it's time consuming and also costing it higher, right? So generally customers look for distributed trust, but there are some customers still go for fixed trust because they just want to set aside this amount to the, let's say for example, non-profit organization is there already. I don't want to give more and this is the amount already set aside for them. So I better do fixed trust. Yes, you can do that. The flexibility in changing the terms and conditions in the future, right? You have, if you want to enjoy the flexibility, then go for distributory trust because there's no extra charges for us to amend the letter of wishes. Yeah. However, amend the trust deed to add on beneficiaries, remove the trust asset. Yes, that one you need to pay a certain fees, but it's very cheap only, not up to the situation that want to add on additional supplemental deed. Yeah, that will be more expensive. The fundamental trust, just now I mentioned to you already, this is also extracted from our training slide. Like I mentioned just now, Section 52 of Bankruptcy Act. Yeah. So if more than the first 2 years, yeah, this is just a graph we let you uh understand how Section 52 of Bankruptcy Act of 1967, Malaysia, this act, yeah, I'm referring to this act. Section 52 of Bankruptcy Act 1967, how it works on that. Yeah. So we purposely draw a graph over here to let you understand how it works. If I setting up a trust or I do not set up a trust or I transfer, let's say this person going to bankrupt already. Yeah. So the first 2 years, he looking out for us to set up a trust. Also at the same time, they transfer all the property, all the cash to the spouse or to friend. Yeah. So making sure that under his name, there's no asset. Yeah. In the first 2 years, he do that, it's totally void. Any transfer or settlement within the first 2 years before your bankrupt, yeah, is totally void. So transfer will not be valid. So let's say customers after 2 years they transfer the third, fourth, and fifth year, yeah. During the time customer transfer asset to spouse or friend whatsoever, yeah, knowing that he's going to bankrupt already. During the time he's already in the insolvent status, means that have a difficulty to pay the debts. Yeah, has been default a few times. During the time, right, within the first 5 years, even though more than 2 years, we still within the 5 years period, it will be void unless proven the settlor is was insolvent. Yeah. So here with the typo error was insolvent. Yeah. What, let's say customers after 5 years already transfer more than 5 years already. Yeah. Then bankrupt. The transfer are valid because under Section 52 Bankruptcy Act, no longer have the way for them to for the Director General's insolvency to claim back asset. So this is how it works on the transfer. It doesn't only apply to the fundamental of trust itself, but this is applies to the form of settlement, transfer and settlement. Yeah. So as I mentioned just now, not only the trust, if let's say customer do not set up trust, but before the bankrupt, he's bankrupt, he transfer all the asset out to friend or spouse also applies. Yeah. So more than 5 years, definitely transfer is valid. So that's why in the industry, we always hear about people say, oh, concept trust, more than 5 years is better. Yeah. So these are a few things that we talk about. Setting up a trust, you have to always ask these three questions. What kind of asset set aside in the trust? Who are your beneficiaries? And what are your intentions? Yeah, we do a summary over here. All right. So this is exactly extracted from the training slide. Okay, so please take note on this part. What kind of asset? Who is a beneficiary? What is your intention? So when we talk to customer on trust, these are the three things that you need to talk first. Yeah, discuss with customer first. And before you advise customer, understand business customer what kind of asset, who is your beneficiary. Maybe it's your only spouse or not spouse, friend, or do you want to set up a trust just because to distribute a fund to charitable organizations or uh special need child? Yeah. Your intention is what, Mr. Customers, is for your retirement planning. You are making sure this fund will support you for you and your spouse until the death of you and your spouse. Yeah, you're afraid there are some customer told us that I do not have children, but I'm afraid when I'm old, somebody is going to I just unable to go to the bank or withdraw money, or I being scammed by somebody else. Yeah. So can I set up a fund every month, you still give me the monthly living expenses, yeah, and making sure you jaga the fund for me, right? Take whole trust for me. Yes, we can do that as well. Yeah, that's all for retirement planning, right? So these are one of the way that when we talk to customers, right? We will have this. I just briefly let you know that generally we will draw this graph to our customers on the spot. Using a whiteboard to talk to customer using uh, uh, this way to let customer know the overview of setting up trust. Right. First of all, I will let customer know. We have to know what kind of purpose we setting up trust over here, and who is your trust beneficiaries. Yeah, and over here you have to transfer asset to trustee, and Mr. Customer, there's a situation that if you currently during your lifetime you're incapacitated or missing of for a period of 30 days whatsoever, yeah, which is uh this is just in case, yeah, you have a management committee to advise on investment or management of trust property that we can consult of. Yeah, that's one of the way we can suggest also. But if customer do not have, it's fine. Yeah. Then we talk about what the purpose you want to trust. Then customer, for example, say, Jeff, my purpose is very clear. I want to making sure provide living expenses to my spouse, right? And also want to taking care for my children who are now still uh minor. Yeah. So up to they are actually reach 25 years or 30 years old. More importantly, my spouse want to cover for her living expenses for maybe up to 20 years, 20 years. So from here, you have to see what kind of asset are able to fit into that role, fit into these purposes, yeah, to provide the support, to provide the funding. If we only have the immovable asset set aside into the trust, the property, whether or not has a rental income, right? If do not have rental income, you want us in what condition to be sell, right? To sell the property. And if you have rental income, right, then we distribute accordingly. Yeah, these are the things that you can talk about that. So insurance policy, generally this example, insurance policy, if we have investment linked policy fund, then we have the investment ration is different. So these are the things that you can also, yeah, talk to customer on that. And if let's say customer, if not insurance policy, but for example, the customer is using a unit trust, yeah, unit trust, what risk appetite you are actually in. So if you can allow 70% invest into fixed income or 30% invest to balance fund whatsoever or equity fund. Yeah. So these are the things that can be recommended by commercial committee. Yeah. So we would generally not recommend to invest the fund into very high risk investment vehicle tools. Okay. So our role over here, you can truly understand our role over here. So from the beginning of this class until now, we never talk about the trust going to give you how much generate of return. And this is not the fiduciary duty for trustee. We are not obliged to actually give you a return of how many percent. It is subject to your risk appetite and also your advice from your investment advisor. A very legit trust, the the trustee role is to taking care for the trust asset. The trustee role is to is not to help you to earn how much of the percentage to be generated from the trust. Please bear in mind this. And if the trust company do offer this, then definitely is subject to another investment advisory, and there is a risk behind. Because every investment advisor, there has to be a licensed investment advisor to advise this. For this amount of the interest you can get it, this is a risk behind, right? It is not, again, I want to reiterate here, it's not again the fiduciary duty for the trustee to mention over here. Are you clear? So I want to make sure that this part is because we do aware in the industry there are many different type of trusts, where there are trusts that the trustee company offer a guarantee of how many percentage will be given out. Yeah. Security Commission are very I look at this currently also. So you know from beginning until now, the session until now, we never talk about the trust give any return on that. Yeah. Moreover, we talk about the trust. Can we actually inject the trust asset cash into fixed deposit or cash management fund or fixed income fund? Yes, provided you give us instruction. Yeah. But generally, if you want us to place into fixed deposit or cash management fund, yes, we can do so because that is very low risk investment vehicle too. Yeah, fixed deposit even don't have risk because it is a fixed deposit interest. Yeah, it only will be but given out when the funds matured lah. Yeah, so one of the weaknesses of key fixed deposit is before the fund matured, you take out, there's no interest payable. Yeah. So these are things that you can talk to customer, but it's not fiduciary duty. It's not us our duty, but this is the advice that we can suggest to customer. Customer discuss with the investment advisor over here. Okay. So company share, customer can place company share into a trust. Yes, but you have to advise us on the condition, the distribution of dividend, condition to disposal, distribution of sales process. But this is actually quite complicated, a complex structure. Talking about company shares to be transferred to trust. Yeah. So this slightly complicated structure if you want to involve a company share transfer to trust, because we need to know advice on from the customer the condition for the company management. So for this, definitely better to speak to us as a business development team over here. Yeah. So over here, you have the other parts, which is the various setting up for living expenses, medical, other, see, cover how much for the living expenses, holiday allowance, whatsoever. So these are very depending on whether you have sufficient fund to do that. Yeah. I just give you some overview over here. So medical, some of the customer very they like the trust setup over here is because their special need child basically cannot buy any insurance, but they already set aside the fund for the special need child. This fund can work as a medical fund for the children. Yeah, we can issue the guarantee letter to the hospital. Yeah. So the business capital encouragement fund over here, this is just to let you know some of our customers they have this instruction. Uh, if my beneficiary, which is let's say for example my children, want to apply the business capital fund, the encouragement fund of 100,000, let's say 100,000 from RSP trustee, from my trust, yes, he can do so, provided these are the conditions that he fulfill. Yes, he or she has no criminal record, not a bankrupt person, have relevant 5 years experience working in the industry, relevant industry, achievement of certain net worth, yeah, and has a business proposal to be presented to RSP trustee also the bench committee. And this is just to give you an overview. Yeah, some customers do write that. Right, trust can be in that situation, in that working in that such a way. Yeah, and of course in terms of charity, yeah, who are the charity organization that you intended to give to? Also have to list down to us one by one, and the frequency of payment. Yeah, so we if not decided by whom, the management committee. Yeah, so this has to be written inside the letter of wishes. Yeah, so a few case study I want to go through with you all. If just want to let you know, like after 1.5 hours, we go through the fundamental trust. Some of you may want to be curious how we use trust. Yeah, some case that we have refers. Yeah. So for this scenario, Madam H, you can see Madam H, age of 87, is single and pension teacher who stays in a nursing home care center. Yeah. She has been diagnosed with cancer and may get admitted to hospital anytime when she fell unconscious. So if you notice that this sentence is to her, she why she look out for us? Because she afraid that anytime she felt unconscious, the money stay inside the bank account is unable to help her also. Yeah. She only has a debit card without a medical policy and credit card. but the hospital require her to pay a deposit during admission. So to transfer her wealth, definitely this Madam H is not only the a pageant teacher, but previously I think she has she did I mean she has some business, and also she has maybe I think some of the business that's why she accumulates some of the fund over here. So transfer a wealth to us, setting up private living trust. So in short, us that monthly payment to the home nursing care during her lifetime. Engage a few nearby hospital with guarantee letter provided, yeah, from private living trust. So these are obviously there's a nearby hospital, but it is subject to decisionary of actually trustee and also the medical practitioner. Yeah, usually the doctor is the key person to advise which hospital is suitable for settler, right? So we are not doctor, we leave it to the professional. And the bill will usually charge through the private trust without hesitation for all party. So imagine you just rely on debit card. It's very, very risky. Yeah. So upon demise, yeah, Mandarin Hash usually will some of the customer you will make is, Jeffrey, I'm single. I have no idea what to give to whom. So for me, I don't think I will. When I pass away, then pass away. Right. So on such arrangement, is a reverse engineering. You can work out in the other way. So maybe Mr. Customer can set our trust from there. If if really you pass away and there's a balance inside your private trust fund, so what is your intention? So from here, Madam H will willingly to write down. So this will be last this by trust fund balance, or trust fund balance shall be given to these beneficiaries whatsoever subsidy beneficiaries. So this is how the private trust can help for some of the customers who want to plan, who are single and want to have a fund set up for their retirement purposes, right? And the second scenario over here, Mr. T inherit a fund of 5 million. Of course, I think he had set aside for a sum that to set up this trust fund, mainly because he wants to carry on the good deed. He actually worries that when he pass away, his family members cannot agree with this, may not be able to agree to the donation to a certain non-profit organizations, yeah, or the fund may be misused by family members, yeah. So he decides to create a private trust, and he actually done some research on those non-profit organizations, because to do a charity, he also want us to actually making sure the money pay to them actually for better use because if you pay one off via the will to them, maybe one off 200,000, 300,000, there will be a certain degree that maybe the person in charge maybe misuse the fund. So he afraid that scenario will be happening here. So he decided to set up a trust. It's just because he want us to donate annually to them, and in between that, you can actually place the fund to cash management fund. The cash management fund is a low risk investment vehicle unit trust fund. Yeah, very, very low risk. Yeah, cash management fund. Yeah. So at least can generate certain interest. Yeah. And you distribute annually. And first thing, you avoid distribute one lump sum to this non-profit organization. There's a risk of mismanagement of the fund can be reduced to a very I mean reduced to a certain amount that people may not be able to misuse, only misuse maybe 10,000 or 20,000, you see, right? So this can be one of the way can help him out, because the charity purpose he won't do it for this a few non-profit organizations. He want to making sure that the community members uh because he's also one of the community members for the non-profit organizations. He knows that definitely if somebody else no longer with the organizations, yeah, certain degree of control has to be there. Yeah, so he wants this way, the trust fund, it serves the purpose to pay annually. Yeah, maybe up to 10 years. Yeah, And in between that, he also have a very, very close friends to act as a management committee. Let's say this non-profit education no longer needed the fund. These 3 to 5 person are able to recommend. Yeah, these are the another donation list upon my demise. Yeah, donate this certain amount to this the orphanage or non-profit educations. Yeah. So these are the trust how we can help out customers in terms of their planning. Yeah. For Muslim friends, of course, Muslim friends, if you read this scenario, we have as just I mentioned to you, WhatsApp can unable to solve all the problem basically because our Muslim friends they have far rate distribution uh applicable for all their Muslim areas. Yeah. So first of all, if you have far rate distribution already in place, yeah, and also you have appointed executor in your WhatsApp. However, you cannot avoid the poor administration procedure can be happen because your executor is inexperienced. Yeah. So to avoid that, you can have other alternative tools. For Muslim, they can set up Hiba, they can set up private living trust. Yeah. Why private living trust? Because private living trust, I transfer the asset to the trustee already. And usually Muslim friends, they actually set up a trust for such arrangement is irrevocable trust. I transfer already means I cannot take back already. Yeah, for this amount. For purpose why you want to do that? Because this can be one of the way to distribute their wealth to their loved one. Encik Ahmad has 3 daughters, just as scenario give you an overview. You must set aside most of the asset for his wife and daughters. If you notice why I say so, because following the Friday distribution, uh, the wife only can get 1/8. Daughters in between that, 3 of the daughter share among for the daughter portion. Yeah. So she want to give more, but in the WhatsApp cannot do such provision. Yeah. He aware if you want to give more to the daughter or the wife, all the current heirs have to give consent to his wishes. Yeah. So he decided to make arrangement you're using a trust. Yeah. This is one of the way using a trust will help out. And second scenario is I think some of you will come across recently just embraced Islam, you just converted. Yeah. So uh, if you convert to Muslim or your non-Muslim parents, it's not your Farid A anymore. Yeah. So even though you want to give to them uh more than that, yeah, because Farid distribution, we actually allocate the Farid distribution actually distribute the 2/3 of the total asset, yeah, of that particular Muslim this is, yeah, you only can distribute 1/3. Clearly, this she want to give more than 1/3. So she decided to using trust because non-Muslim parents inside the trust, I don't need to care whether you are Muslim or non-Muslim parents or Muslim or non-Muslim beneficiaries. As long as I ensure that, yeah, when I set up a trust, when I'm still alive, I transfer the asset to trustee. So it can avoid the prior distribution upon your demise already, because during your lifetime you already transferred, and during your lifetime you can also instruct us to distribute the maintenance and medical expenses to taking care for your non-Muslim parents. Yeah. So for such a different scenario too, Jenny also have Takasu certificates. Yeah. Takasu certificates to boost up the fund of his, because Takafu certificate you also can appoint Hiba. Yeah, we told them you can use Takafu, yeah, as one of the arrangement to give more to your non-Muslim parents. Yeah, so this is one of the ways that risk advisor, you can advise customer there's a various way to distribute well. Yeah. So firing system is not only the way for Muslim can distribute his estate. Yeah. So just now what I actually identified to you, you have Hiba, you have private living trust, you also have Takafu. So for those today if you are also insurance advisor, I think that's the best way you can advise the customer is to at least you have these three tools in your mind, you can help out customers. Maybe before you meet the customers, especially our Muslim friends, Takafu, you can actually I think one of the benefit of Takafu is Takafu has Hiba system. Yeah. You appoint this person as Hiba, is we definitely give them as a gift. So it's one of the way I think most of our Muslim customer will use it Takafu certificate as one way to distribute their wealth. Yeah, I would strongly encourage you to look out for this way. And if not, if customer unable to buy Takafu, then set a private living trust. All right. So as I mentioned just now, the appointed executor and trustee is the key person, whether this person is skilled enough to manage an asset or not. Yeah. So last thing when we want to do during our lifetime to ensure all the assets distribute according to our wishes. Generally, most of our customers they want to set up private trust because they want to making sure when they are still alive that witness the whole process of distribution. Yeah. Some customers say, Jeffrey, you know why I want to set up private living trust? Because when I'm still alive, I can witness the whole process, how it goes. Yeah. So these are various few scenario. I will just briefly go through with you all. Also extension for our training slide. Yeah. So wealth protection for high risk business owner. Okay. You can actually use up the trust to help out for this group of people that I mentioned just now. They are very, very high risk business owner because they basically if they do a will, right, they have a will written. Your will, you have to go through a process, pay off every outstanding debts before you distribute the wealth to your next generation, your loved one. Yeah. So if your customer is very, very high risk where they act as a guarantor for a few commercial loan, yeah, then you need to pitch them using your trust. Yeah. So we have wealth preservation of minor child. Just now I mentioned again and again using why people using private trust. There are some very successful entrepreneur. Their children is still very young, right? Husband and wife travel together always, yeah. They're afraid that when they pass away due to accident, even though had the will written passed out to my children, they are still very young to inherit. So in that way, do I have any other tools to preserve my wealth or not? The private purpose trust is one of the way. Yeah, one of the way. So this is exactly why people want to set up a private living trust. During the time I set up a private living trust, I have amount of cash set aside for the trust while my children on the way growing up to 18 years old. The fund is being taken care by a very legit company, a trustee company, a bank-backed trustee company, instead of I relying on an executor, which is very high risk, an individual executor. Yeah. So I've spoken to many of the entrepreneurs that love this concept. Yeah, I hope you guys catch the important things I want to talk over here. Important note, yeah. So not only that, the family issue of spendthrift descendants, yeah. So like I mentioned just now, if you customers always worry about how to ensure is there any other tools that I can give maybe provide their living expenses instead of one-off distribute via the will to them. Trust is one of the best way. Yeah. So this you can use the private trust fund to tackle this problem. And also family issue or complex family, why we say this complex family issue? Uh, family structure that I just mentioned just now yesterday night, the customer that has spoken to me at asset planner, he has two family with him. One is his longtime partner, the other one longtime partner, the other one is his wife. And both families are living together. I think if he passed away, because they are not living in the same premises, yeah, but they actually knowing each other. They know the existence of this second family. So uh I actually I actually quite worried lah because for the will itself, distribution of the amount, I cannot say anything because there's a distribution towards a certain people. They are more than uh they're quite a lot more than the other beneficiaries. So I think if you want to have such arrangement, it's better you do it privately, confidentially, using a private trust. Instead of you put everything inside the will, right? So he's still considering. So if you have any customers has such concern, yeah, and you are there, you maybe can give them highlight to them, hey, this customer, you get other tools to use, yeah. So it will be better if you just do it in a very confidentially using your private trust, right? So these are all the legacy planning methods I actually mentioned to you. Yeah. So I think this is very just like I mentioned, there are some customers using the trust, yeah, to provide their self-maintenance, yeah, particularly for single young entrepreneur. Yeah, there are many because actually living in JB, Johor Bahru. So actually Johor Bahru, many of the bachelor working in Singapore, they are earning very, very high salary, right? They have a condominium over there and here. And of course, some agents that reach out to me, Jeff, I have no idea how to help this customer because this customer basically, they say no need to buy insurance because I don't see any purpose. Yeah. So this group of people, this group of customers maybe is very, very, I think they are very worried about for their self-maintenance when they are retirement, or what have happened if there are suddenly unforeseen some situations happen to them, they are seriously ill or whatsoever, cannot or permanently disabled, unable to have to rely on somebody else to taking care for them. So this group of people maybe is a group of people that they are willing to listen to your concept, having a trust set up for themselves as self-maintenance, right? So I mentioned to you already, not only for that, but for philanthropic purposes, you can using private trust. Yeah. So I just don't want to go through this actually too much because this actually from the trust planning sessions. Yeah. So of course, so some of the participants over here, please make use of the letter wishes that we have provided in your trust planning sessions. Yeah. These are the very, very valuable items that I think that we provide to you. You can use it to talk to a customer. It's a very good starting talking point to your customers that how to set up a trust and what kind of purpose you are talking about. Yeah, when you're talking about Jeff want me to set aside a fund to take it for my customer or for self-maintenance. These are the phrase or the sentence that we already mentioned over here. There's a translation in Chinese that you can actually if your customer does not have proficiency in English, you can use this letter we should talk to them. Yeah. Mention community setup, the purpose of the trust to settle the debts and liability, distribution for living expenses to spouse, children, and parents. Yeah. And medical hospital expenses, education expenses, emergency fund setup for respective charitable organization. We need to have their name organizations and their company documentations. Yeah. So for this, if your customer really does not have that set up for charitable organization distribution, please talk to us. Yeah, we will advise you accordingly. There are certain documentation need them to sign accordingly. Yeah. So for investment, this part I just want to let you guys know if you participant over here, I'm not too sure whether you have the investment the license to give advice. Uh Particularly for I think usually many of us, yeah, if we are not the financial advisor or the CMS, we holding the CMS IL license, yeah, uh we shouldn't give advice on how to invest to our customers. But because I just want you guys to be careful on this. If you have actually gave advice to the customers and that advice eventually has resulted in loss, you'll be accountable. Yeah. So in Malaysia, very be careful that whenever you give advice, definitely you have to be licensed advisor. Yeah. So that's why us as a fiduciary duty over here as a trustee here, we don't give advice or invest way or generate how many percentage of return like I mentioned just now. And this is how legit customers want to set up a private trust. They want to hear it. Yeah. They want to know from the beginning when you talk to them how to structure the fund. Yeah. So in terms of investment, you can uh tell them, you can give us instructions. Yeah, we add on instructions, but our suggestion is don't invest in the very high risk investment vehicle tools. Okay, right? So uh just do a summary of all the case study of putting up over here. So the purpose of setting up a trust, who can be the beneficiary of the trust? What kind of asset transfer to a trust? Duration of trust. Yeah. Generally, can it be perpetual or sustained for a period of time? It depends on the trust asset you place into it. Yeah. If your trust asset set aside into the trust, you want to avoid for fire distribution or alternative way against alternative way to your loved ones, yeah, but not subject to fire distribution or distribution and NIDVA, you can look out for setting up private trust over here. All right. So with that, I think we're close to today is we study using a little bit more time, go through a content of your right. However, I think it's very crucial to go through those important points for uh those who want to understand a little bit more how to set our trust. Yeah. And the trust how to use on that. I hope you guys have a very, very fruitful session today. And thank you so much for uh spending our 2 hours time with us over here. And although it's a free sessions for all the active agents, we're trying our best to deliver the content over here. And me, myself, and all the business development team, we are always tries our best to give some advice over here. But we always want you all to also be careful when we give advice to customers. Yeah. So we let me check through some of the questions in the webinars to see any question I can address it. Yeah. Is Musi Hiba exempted for Farid? Yeah. I think Joseph, I actually answered your question already. Yeah. Hiba is different. The question Hiba is the other tools. Yeah. It's one of the tools to distribute to their as a gift to their called the person who is the HIPAA. I forgot the name of it, yeah. But HIPAA is definitely another tool, yeah. So for private public trust, why we for Muslim friends we want them to actually set up the irrevocable trust because it's also very fit to the HIPAA concept. Yeah, it's irrevocably done and it acts as a gift to this beneficiary trust beneficiary. Yeah. So I hope I answered your question on that. Uh can the bankrupt person benefit from the trust asset? Yes, but uh up to a certain degree. Yeah. Because if you're bankrupt, you can only receive up to 500 ringgit. Not more than that, yeah. And it's subject to anything more than that, you have to report to DGI, Director General Insolvency. Yeah. So that's why however, a bankrupt person doesn't mean that you cannot enjoy the living standard that you can instruct us to pay for the rental, you can instruct us to pay for rental directly or pay for whatsoever person who want to provide no any personal care to this person also can. You get what I mean on that? Yeah. So not directly to give them cash because maybe they cannot inherit they cannot receive cash more than 5 ringgit. Yeah. So but the trust itself are able to hold in trust for that amount of money. Yeah, to serve the purpose, making sure the living standard of these beneficiaries are still there. Right. Okay. Uh Anthony Bong, so may I know what's the strong point for Muzi to write WhatsApp or trust better? Uh, we don't draw into this situation whether WhatsApp better or trust better. There's no such question because two different tools, these different WhatsApp and trust, they are two different asset banking tools serving for different purposes. As I mentioned, WhatsApp, why according to them, Quran, why they actually written WhatsApp? Because WhatsApp you have your own intention or wishes to at least you have a selection of who is your executors, and by that selection you ease some of the jobs for your you actually reduce some of the workload for your beneficiaries, fire beneficiaries, because if you don't appoint executor, I think they have to come up, give a consent someone has to be representative to that estate as administrator to execute it. Yeah. But if you do a WhatsApp, yeah, at least you have appointment of this executor. Moreover, you have an arrangement of your 1/3 of your set given to whom, 2/3, even though it's foreign firing distribution, yeah, they will be very clear cut that this is your arrangement, 1/3 given to whom, yeah. So for Muslim friends, they will do a WhatsApp mainly because first thing, if they are the husband, at least they can appoint a guardianship for their minor children, and also choosing who will be the administrator, the what called the executor. And these are more important. Yeah. So I hope I answered your question. And trust is definitely very different. It serves as a purpose. You want to set up the fund as a gift to this trust beneficiaries. Yeah. So it's totally two different purposes. So depending on customer goal, current goal. Yeah. I think we are now 12:02. I think yeah, close to 12 more than that of 2 minutes. So thank you so much. I don't spend too much of the time over here. Okay. Stay tuned for our upcoming webinar. We will announce via our 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 email to send this blast out to all of you. All right. So again, thank you very much. For those who have appointment to go for lunch, please feel free to do so. Thank you very much again for your time. And Jeffrey signing off over here. I see you again.